In May 2025, the Rotary Club of Sunrise, Florida, co-hosted with the LifePoint Church a community health seminar. Marty Kiar, the Broward County Property Appraiser, gave an informative discussion on how owners can sign up for their owner alert program so they can be notified if any changes have been made to their deed, which helps prevent your property being stolen from you. Another fellow condominium treasurer, when he reported that a caretaker of an owner in their condominium suffering from dementia had defrauded her of both her unit and her fortune through deed fraud, was told by a Broward County policeman that they couldn't do anything to reverse the deed. This showed ignorance on his part and was incorrect, as it is illegal for anyone to enter into a legal agreement with someone who is mentally incompetent. So I asked Marty Kiar to discuss how his office is actively investigating cases of deed fraud in cooperation with the Broward County Sheriff's Department and the state attorney. 3 Broward police officers have their offices in Marty Kiar's office. And Marty Kiar also discussed this topic in our April 2024 Aging Gracefully seminar. In this presentation, he covered other topics as well, so we recommend that you listen to this discussion also.
And by the way, you did a great job. I'm really sorry to hear about your father-in-law. That's very tough. And you know, my grandmother passed on from Alzheimer's, and it runs in our family. And unfortunately, there are so many people that suffer from it. And I just appreciate the great work that the Rotary Club is doing to bring awareness to it, to raise money for it, and all the other work that you all do. So please give her another big round of applause. She deserves it. And I want to thank Bruce as well for letting me talk today. I promise I won't talk for too long. Before I quickly talk about how our office can work with you all to help protect you from deed fraud, I wanted to thank you. You know, the people of Broward County have been just wonderful. They've given me the opportunity to serve in a lot of elected capacities. I got to serve in the Florida House of Representatives. I got to serve in the Broward County Commission. I got to be Broward County's mayor. And since 2016, you've allowed me to be your Broward County Property Appraiser. And I can tell you, of all the elected jobs I've ever had, this one I love the most by far, because you get to interact with everybody in the county, and the nature of the jobs just lets you help people. And here's a big difference. When you serve in the Florida legislature, it's awesome. I mean, you get to debate education and healthcare. You get to try to make the state better. But sometimes you feel very far away from the people. You don't always get to meet the people you're helping. When you serve on the county commission or you're the mayor of Broward County, that's a really cool job. I mean, you get to make the port better and the airport better, mass transit better. You get to try to make Broward County very strong economically statewide, but you still feel very far away from the people. You don't always get to meet the people you're helping. Property appraiser, I think, is the greatest elected job alive, because your job is basically constituent services. All day, every day, you help people with their property. You help seniors and veterans. It's the type of job that when I go home, I put my head on my pillow. I feel like I did something really, really good that day. And you all were nice enough to reelect me in 2024, so you're kind of stuck with me for another 4 years. But my staff is actually out there. They're with the red table. At the end, if anybody wants to sign up for any tax saving exemption they're not getting or owner alert, they're so happy to sit down with you, sign you up to make sure that you don't overly pay in your property taxes and that your property is protected. And in our office, there are 3 main functions. The first function is we determine the value of every piece of property in Broward County for tax purposes. The second that we do is we give tax saving exemptions to people that qualify, whether it's homestead exemptions, senior exemptions, widows exemptions, veterans exemptions. There's a lot of ways you can save money. And the third thing we do, and this is what Bruce asked me to talk about today, was we have a very aggressive fraud division in our office. It consists of 2 different types of fraud. One is civil fraud. So basically, if somebody's getting an exemption they're not allowed to get, we crack down on people who are cheating the system, but we also have a criminal fraud division as well. And that's what I really wanted to talk about today. Unfortunately, South Florida is the title fraud capital of the world. It's the capital of the world because you have criminals, and that's what they are. And what they do is they walk into the recording division every single day in every single county in the state of Florida, and they file fake deeds on people's properties, and they take those deeds and they extort people for money, or they mortgage, rent, or sell the property. They do it all the time. And the reason it's so easy for them is the recording division for every county has a ministerial duty. They have to accept whatever documents filed with them. So you have these criminals, they walk in, they file a fake deed, and they do something nefarious with it. So the first thing we decided to do, this would be in 2021, was give the people of Broward County the opportunity to fight the fraud before the fraud occurs. So we came up with a pretty cool program called Owner Alert. It's really a free program for the public. That's a government program. We designed it and we operate it, of course. And it alerts you if there's been a title change to your property. And here's how you can sign up. The easiest way to sign up is just go to meet our staff over there. They can sign you up very quickly. If you don't have time to that, you can actually go on our website. And if you go on our website, you go to bcpa.net, you click on Owner Alert, which is actually up there, right there. You type in your name, You type in your parcel ID number, which you grab from our website, and you put in your email address. And if we have your email address on file, you're automatically verified. If we don't, you have to upload your Florida driver's license or Florida ID. If you don't have that, you have to upload a utility bill or something proving ownership. And then if any document, legitimate or not, is filed changing ownership, you'll be notified instantaneously by email, by text message. You can even get a hard copy in the mail. It's a really fantastic program. We've had 300,000 Broward County property owners sign up so far, and my goal is to get everybody to sign up because they're to protect their most important asset, their home. And a really cool thing happened as well. Last year, we had a fantastic law passed in the Florida legislature. It was actually sponsored by one of our state representatives, Christina Chofsky, and one of our Broward County state senators. Her name is Tina Polsky. And what they did was they filed a bill to exempt all information we collect for our owner alert program, your email, your phone number, even the fact that you signed up. It's exempt from public disclosure, so the information can never be gotten by anybody else and can only be used for one purpose and one purpose only, and that's letting you know of a title change to your property. And when I started this program, I started getting phone calls from residents. And they would say, Marty, I just got an alert from your office that somebody changed the title on my property, but I didn't do it. And then I got more and more and more. And I realized how big of a deal it was. So I came up with a different idea for property appraisers. I wanted to work with law enforcement, build criminal cases, and put the people in jail who are doing this. So I went to the state of Florida, which of course oversees all the property appraisers that are elected throughout the state. And I said, state of Florida, this is what I like to do. Can I do it? And they basically said to me, well, you know, Marty, you're a property appraiser. This isn't something that you're really into. You don't really do law enforcement stuff, but we understand there's a big deal in South Florida and in particular Broward County. We understand a lot of people are being taken advantage of. So we'll approve your program and allow you to do it and make you the guinea pig for the rest of the state. I go, great. I then went to the Broward County Commission, which funds my budget. I go, County Commission, the state of Florida just approved a new program in my office. I'm calling it my Crimes Against Property team. Would you all fund it? And all 9 county commissioners said, absolutely, Marty, we'll give you whatever you need. I then went to see my friend Sheriff Tony. And I go, Sheriff Tony, I'm really excited. The Broward County Commission is funding a new program in my office, my Crimes Against Property team, but I have a huge problem. I'm not law enforcement, you are. I can't issue probable cause affidavits, search warrants. I can't arrest people. I can't do the job of law enforcement. You can. Can we work together? Can we hold these people accountable? And Sheriff Tony said, absolutely, Marty. And he assigned 3 sheriff's detectives to work in my office that are actually housed in my office so we can work with them to do the job of law enforcement. I then went to see Harold Pryor, our state attorney. And I go, Harold, I'm really excited. You know, the sheriff and I, we're working together. We're going to build these criminal cases and hold these people accountable. And if we bring you cases you think are prosecutorial, would you prosecute the people that are doing this? And Harold Pryor goes, absolutely, Marty. And he assigned an assistant state attorney to work with our office to prosecute the people that we bring to him. And over the past few years now that we've been in existence, we've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of criminal investigations in every single city all throughout Broward County. We've had numerous arrests, numerous convictions, and we've been able to work with the court system to get property back to people in a much more expeditious and cost-efficient manner. And just to give you an idea how bad the people are that do this, let me give you some examples. They really put into perspective what these people will do to try to defraud people from their properties. The first case I always talk about, because it was our first arrest, our first conviction, I'm very, very proud of it, involved a married couple. It was 2 wives. One of the wives worked for one of our hospital districts. The other wife worked in the real estate industry. The wife that worked in the hospital district would find out when people would pass on. She would then take their confidential information, including their social security numbers, and give it to her wife in the real estate industry, who would find if they had property in Broward County and heirs here. If they had property and no heirs, they'd file fake deeds on the properties. They'd sell the properties on Zillow, mortgage the properties, rent the properties. They profited in the amount of millions of dollars. But something I'm very happy about is we arrested them, we prosecuted, we convicted them, and even though they're a married couple, they're spending their time in different prisons, which I think is a great thing. Thank you very much. Very excited about that. Another one I like to talk about was our biggest case, and this involved about 12 people, almost all of which so far have been convicted. Some are still going to trial. But let me tell you what they did is a very smart scheme. They decided to use the Broward County court system to steal people's properties. So the ringleaders would file what's called quiet title actions in circuit court, basically lawsuits in circuit court saying this senior or this bank or this person no longer wanted the property. The return of service would go to the guy's buddy who was in a mobile home in Hillsborough County, and he would say, oh yeah, I represent that senior, that bank, that person. Yeah, they don't want the property anymore. Put in this guy's name or his company's name. They stole dozens and dozens and dozens of homes all throughout Broward County. Fortunately, the ringleader was recently found guilty. He was sentenced to 8 years in state prison, followed by 10 years probation. If he violates his probation, he goes to jail for life. And another interesting conviction there was a minor co-conspirator. She was only given 10 years probation, but she was also ordered deported to her home country of Moldova, which is a very cold Eastern European country, and she can never return back to the United States. The other thing people ask me is they say, Marty, who are the people that do this? What kind of technology do they use? Who do they target? And what kind of sentences are being handed down? Well, with regard to the first question about who does this, what we found is just about everybody does it. We've had all different races, religions, national origins, different occupations, different income levels. The people that do this are just very smart people. They come up with very, very good schemes, and they target people because they think they can easily get away with it. That's the type of person that does it. And to give you an idea, over the summer, we even arrested a lawyer in Cooper City who was allegedly helping people steal homes there. So it can be just about anybody. The second thing people ask is, what kind of technology do they use? Well, generally the technology is very primitive. You have somebody that'll walk into a record division, they'll file a fake deed, and then they'll start doing something bad with it. People even send couriers over. We actually had a courier that was sent by a guy who's on death row in Mississippi to steal somebody's property here. We did not prosecute him here because he has more problems over there. But usually it's very primitive. But recently the technology is getting much more advanced. And let me tell you about an ongoing criminal case we currently have that really illustrates how smart some of these criminals are getting. There's a title company that was contacted, and I think the title company was in Hollywood. And they contacted this title company, and it's this lady, and she says, you know, I've owned this parcel, it's vacant in Hollandale Beach for a very long time. But you know what, though? I'm getting up there in my years. My family lives in Michigan. I want to go to Michigan and be with my grandkids and really just enjoy the golden years of my life. But I need to sell my nest egg, this parcel in Hollandale Beach, so I can actually afford to live and enjoy myself. And they go, okay, well, show us the information that you own it. She sent over very legitimate-looking information, was, I think, a passport. She sent over a driver's license. They sent over the deed. It all looked very legitimate. But this title company was very smart. And they said, well, you know, we have to meet you in person. And she said, well, I can't meet you in person, but I can meet you over Zoom. And they go, okay. So the Zoom meeting opens up, and you had this sweet senior sitting at a dining room table drinking, I think, a coffee or a tea, I'm not sure which one. And she's talking to them about how much she loves her grandkids, how much she loves Michigan. It's cold there, but you know what? She wants to go there and live there the rest of her life and enjoy herself. And she's so excited to sell this property. But it just so happened that every 30 or 45 seconds, the same thing would occur. She would do this with her hand. Same exact thing every single time. And it was just enough to where the title company got a little suspicious. So they actually sent us the information, we looked into it, and it turned out that sweet senior sitting at her dining room table drinking coffee or tea was artificial intelligence. And so it just shows how smart their technology is getting, and that's something that's really concerning to me. So I'm always trying to tell real estate companies and realtors and mortgage companies, if something looks too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true, and be really on the lookout. And if you have any concerns, give us a call. The other thing people ask me is, what kind of people are they targeting? Who do they target? Well, we found with all of our investigations, it's been pretty much everybody. We said all races, all religions, people with high incomes, big properties, people that aren't very wealthy people. But for the most part, they love to target our most vulnerable people. They target seniors. They target people with disabilities. They love to target people that don't speak English as their first language. And the reason being, because I said before, the people that do this are just very smart, and they target the people they think they can best get away with it. So there's a criminal case that we have ongoing right now where there hasn't yet been a conviction, but I believe there will be. And I think when this person is convicted, she's going to go to jail for a long time. But it's kind of like my guiding light why I'm so passionate about this. And let me kind of tell you about this case. Here are the two people involved. The victim was about as vulnerable as they come. He was a senior with severe mental and physical disabilities. And to give you an idea how mentally disabled he was, he had the mentality of a 6-year-old almost his entire life. The defendant was a Miami-Dade police officer, and she would just live 2 doors away from him in the city of Miramar. And here's what occurred. The victim lived with his parents. They were his caregivers almost his entire life. His parents passed on. When they passed on, they left their property to his sister, who then became his caregiver. She then took care of him for some time, and she passed on. And when she passed on, that's when his neighbor 2 doors down decided to allegedly do something very, very bad. The first thing that she did was she opened up a fake power of attorney so she could make all the financial decisions for him. And she used that fake power of attorney to open up a bank account in both their names. And his Social Security money was being deposited in there. His Social Security disability money was being deposited in there. Other money was being deposited in there. And she was utilizing that money and having a really good time. I mean, she was going on cruises, having just a fantastic time at the expense of this very disabled person that needed to be protected. She got away with that. So then she allegedly did something else. She decided to open up a probate estate in the Broward County Circuit Court to try to get everything from the sister into his name. And she did. The judge signed the order, and everything went into his name. The first thing she did with her power of attorney when that happened was she deeded over his home to her. She then took out a mortgage on the home. She rented the home. She was really profiting at the amount of the expense of this gentleman. She then moved him into a senior assisted living facility that from my understanding was being paid for by a Social Security disability. And so while this is going on, he's over here. She's getting all this money from his home that now she owns. She's also got all the other assets that his sister had left him that she's having a good time on, and he's suffering over here. She got away with that. So then she decided to open up an insurance policy in his name, making herself the beneficiary. 2 weeks later, he died. She then got all that money. Fortunately, while this was going on, the Miami-Dade Police Department was actually, they had an internal affairs investigation into her. And they couldn't understand during the course of their investigation how she all of a sudden had all this money, had this other house, had all these new assets that she didn't have before. So she sent the information to Harold Pryor, a state attorney, who then provided it to our office. We investigated it. She was arrested. She will definitely have her day in court. I think she's going to be convicted because I think the evidence is overwhelming. And if she is convicted, she should spend a long time in prison. The last thing people ask me is, what kind of prison sentences are people getting? Well, recently we had a jury trial. And there was a gentleman who was convicted of stealing homes from seniors in Tamarack. And the jury convicted him unanimously. It was a jury of his peers. At the end of that, the defendant, the person that was convicted, walked up to the judge. And he goes, well, Your Honor, I was just found guilty. When is my sentencing hearing going to be so I can prepare for it? And the judge goes, well, you have about 30 seconds. And he goes, as a matter of fact, you don't even have that. You have 15 years. Goodbye. And that's what he gave him. So the sentences are getting pretty long. And I'm very happy about that because, as you all know, usually our most important, most expensive asset is our home. That's what we have. That's our nest egg. That's where we live. It's so very important. And when somebody can easily steal that from you, it can really do a lot of damage to you and your family. And it's even exacerbated when they steal it from somebody who's a very vulnerable person. So I hope if you haven't signed up for our Owner Alert program, I think it's your first line of defense. Our staff can definitely sign you up today. And with that said, I just appreciate y'all having me for a few moments. Well, thank you all so much for having me today. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.
If you are in Sunrise, Florida, please visit our club. You can find the meeting times on our club website. I have a video on the history of Rotary and my personal goals in joining Rotary. What is Rotary? We have a short video that we downloaded from the Rotary International website that explains the many goals of Rotary International.